First of all, PayPal, so we can stay on the air. And secondly, many of you know that I am from a small town in southern Ontario called Petrolia. My dad was the minister there, United Church minister. And it was a pretty white town. For a guy with the name LeDrew and glasses, his dad was a minister, it's sort of like the Johnny Cash story, boy named Sue. You had to have your elbows up and you had to know how to fight because everybody else was pretty milquetoast. My guest is Duane Gibson. And ironically enough, his dad was a minister at the same church as my dad was years ago. Duane, welcome to the show and tell me, Petrolia, I mean, there's a little bit diversity there, but it was just a small southern Ontario town, and you grew up there as a black man.
I did. I grew up in Sarnia at first, and then my dad moved over to Petrolia.
To the big time.
Yeah, exactly, to the big time. They've been there for 20 years. And while
Did you encounter racism there?
I never encountered any racism. And you know what I appreciate about that? Because, you know, there's a new song out, Try That in a Small Town. And they say how in small towns there is racism. And I think the great thing about Petrolia is it does have a history of racism, but they've overcame it. So there was a time when in Petrolia, after dusk, you weren't able to walk the streets if you were black.
Yeah.
But that doesn't exist anymore. And so when people talk about racism, especially racism in Canada, I get very offended when people say we haven't made progress. Because I can go to a community like Petrolia and I can hang out with old farmers over at Haywood's and we all get along great.
You probably had fewer problems than I did as a kid with a funny name and glasses and the son of the minister. But so that is not only a generous attitude, but I think it's a right assessment. But why is that? We've so advanced. We're in pretty good shape.
Well, on a personal level, I think it's cool that people know my dad. They don't know him as the black man in town. They know him as the minister.
Yeah.
They know him, and as a minister, it's not just about church. He does funerals. He works at FIDICS. He helps a lot of people in the community. So people will say, "Oh, your dad, he married us." But on a level of the community, I think it's just the way that people are. They are just loving people. They're kind-hearted. They'll give the shirt off your back. They'll give you a cold beer.
I think that's, I think you're absolutely right on that. And I think it's a good lesson for us all, particularly in some urban centers in Canada, where people are trying to inject racism into the debate.
Yeah.
And clearly that's wrong, and it's going to fail. So you're a shining example, and thank you very much.
Thank you.
Duane Gibson, 3 minutes, not years. I know that many of you viewers are experiencing tough times with those pointless Trudeau taxes. You're watching every dollar, so are we. We run a very lean operation, which is why I'm asking this question of you now. If you know of any companies who want to advertise on this station, good people watch it, as you know, from coast to coast to coast. Please let us know. And in the meantime, please subscribe and PayPal.